Wall Street's fat cat bankers are getting fatter thanks to what our friend Bill Cohan sees as their chummy relationship with President Obama. The president recently raised $2.4 million for his re-election campaign from the very crew he blamed for the housing bubble and the financial crisis. This is the topic of Bill's latest column for Bloomberg's new opinion section. It's called Bloomberg View. Bill spent 17 years on Wall Street, is the author of several books, including Money and Power, How Goldman Sachs Came to Rule the World, and, of course, House of Cards. Bill, always glad to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Nice to see you. Thank you.
So President Obama called Wall Street fat cats, but now because he's running for re-election, he needs the money.
Wow, what a surprise. You know, welcome to our political system. You know, I always thought that the old saw that journalists live by, comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable, should apply even for politicians.
It's pretty hard, though, when you have to run re-election campaigns so frequently.
Yeah, but they're talking about him raising $1 billion, okay, which is extraordinary amount of money for somebody who is not independently wealthy.
But, I mean, Bill, to be fair, that's what he probably needs to compete, right?
I don't know if he needs $1 billion to compete. I mean, even the wealthiest Republican opponents, even Mitt Romney, I don't think they're talking about raising $1 billion. But even so, even if they both raise the same amount of money, if you're in the business of criticizing Wall Street and offending Wall Street, then to turn around a year or two later and ask them for $36,000 to go to dinner with you at Danielle seems to me the height of hypocrisy. And at least if he's going to stand for something that people can be proud of and look up to him for, he should. If he's going to be angry at Wall Street, he should stay angry at Wall Street and get the job done. And as I also say in the column, he has let the quote-unquote fat cats on Wall Street get away with what happened during the crisis. And none of them have been prosecuted.
Bill, how is that the president's responsibility? Get the job done. What is the president supposed to do? He doesn't have the power to sue people. He doesn't have the power to bring criminal charges.
Well, Erik, he does have a Justice Department. He does have an FBI, and I'm sure there are probably rules against, presidents directing prosecutions.
You can't make up the evidence to justify a criminal case.
But who's asking him to make it up? No one's asking him to make it up.
How do you know that he has the evidence?
Just investigate it. And if you look at what Preet Bharara has been saying lately, the U.S. Attorney in the Southern District, he is saying, don't criticize me for not, going after these guys. We've tried. We've looked at the.
Well, he says he's looked at the evidence.
He said he's looked at the evidence, and nothing has, come to his attention that would be indictment worthy.
Would you rather be the prosecutor who took the two Bear Stearns hedge fund managers to court, couldn't make a single charge stick? Would you rather be that person for making a case that you can't win?
I wrote a book about what happened at Bear Stearns, and I laid out any number of facts, including any number of smoking guns that they could have used to go after these guys, and they chose a totally different path, which is their right. I'm not a prosecutor.
I was just going to say, that's part of their strategy as prosecutors.
And they blew it, and now they're gun-shy about going after anybody else. And as a result, it looks to the American people like these guys are going to, quote, get away with what happened during this crisis.
It's pretty hard, though, Bill, to go after Wall Street, so to speak. More to Erik's point, I mean, even to launch a civil case is a pretty difficult thing to do.
Well, Deirdre, there are a lot of civil cases ongoing at the moment and pending against all of these firms. But they're, again, they're picking on small fry like Fab Touré at Goldman Sachs, who was just a member of a deal team, quote unquote, doing his job, who was a little fast and loose with his opinions about the things that he was making. But that is hardly, worthy of singling him out. I mean, there are people who are at the top of these firms who really did things wrong even by looking the other way.
Who have just as much money to hire great defense lawyers.
Well, then let's get that underway. Instead of spending money at Danielle, let's have them spend money on defense lawyers let's get this stuff out in the open.
Bill, I brought something for you. This measuring cup. You spent 17 years on Wall Street. This measuring cup is for the pint of blood that you want to collect from all your once-upon-a-time friends.
This is very, very nice of you. I'm going to cherish this.
I'm sure you will,
Get the blood going right now.
In all seriousness, before we go, do you really believe crimes were committed and that it is just a question of finding a prosecutor who has the guts, really, to take on the street?
Preet Bharara is supposed to be a pretty gutsy guy.
I think, Erik, I've looked at this pretty closely for a number of years now, and I really think that the sins of omission, i.e. looking the other way, not facing up to the risks that these firms were taking, were criminal in nature. I really do believe that.
Bill, always glad to see you. Take good care of Eric's measuring cup.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you,
Bill
Deirdre.
Cohan joining us here. You can read his column in Bloomberg View.